It's alright, you're not watching the wrong video. I would just quite like if you checked out this series. Watch it now. Link in the description. Let's predict. Hello there folks, welcome back. We're doing something different today. We're doing our World Cup predictions. Loads of people are doing them. Oh, by the way, if you're here for Thames will be out later. Don't worry, don't panic. But I thought I'd do this. Loads of people are doing it. So I thought, you know what, why not get involved and sort of record it and have it for somewhere that I can watch in 20 years and go, got that one wrong, didn't you, Ben? Or people can remind me in about a month's time, and that'd be fun as well. So I thought I'd go through. You get to do all the group stages, and then based upon that, you get to do your knockout stages as well, and obviously your eventual winner and the like. So let's talk about it a little bit. I won't keep this video super long. We'll try and keep it relatively snappy on what I think, and we'll start with Group A, then the group I did for OneFootball, and run the ad. No, there's no advert today. You're okay. So Egypt, Uruguay, Saudi Arabia and Russia, and I'm going to surprise a few people with who I think will finish in the top two for this group. And people might think I'm being ridiculous, but I guess we'll know very soon. We'll literally know tonight. So if people are watching tonight, oh, this is going to be awkward. Anyway, we'll start with top and the bottom then. I think Uruguay will finish top, and I think Russia will have quite a poor tournament, although hopefully it's not, you know, if there's any controversy around Russia this tournament, there's going to be questions, aren't there? So it's Egypt or Saudi Arabia for who I think will come second. And of course, Salah got injured in the Champions League final. It's a little bit of a one-man team with Salah. They've actually not got like a terrible team or anything. They're not bad. They didn't exactly tear up though, although their qualification stuff. So I'm actually going to have them in third, and I think the shock of the tournament will be that Saudi Arabia get into the second place for the first time in their history. I think it'll be. So I just think they've got three attacking players. I'm sure you'll see them. I can't remember the names, but having researched them for OneFootball, I know that Saudi Arabia on the counter attack could cause problems to teams like Egypt and Russia, who play not too dissimilar styles. Egypt especially play very similar to Saudi Arabia. It could be a bit of a firefight between those two. And then Russia, I just don't think are as good as they used to be. They're a lot older now. They're not the team that they were sort of 8 years ago or whatever, when they were considered relatively decent. So yeah, I mean, it could fall apart there. We'll see. Now we move on to Spain, Morocco, Portugal and Iran, and of course Spain have just sacked their manager and hired Herrero in to be their manager for the tournament a day before it all kicks off, which is quite interesting. And despite all of that, I don't think it affects the players too much. I think they're big name players in the Spain squad, very good players as well. So we're going to stick Spain in at number one, and I'm going to be very, very predictable and just say Portugal will be second, European champions and all that. Morocco, I think, will be third, and I think Iran will round out the group. Morocco aren't that bad. Keep an eye on Morocco. They're not as bad as you might think they are. They're a decent little size, but I think Ronaldo's Portugal probably going to be pretty solid within that. And there's quite a few players in the Portuguese team that got a point to prove. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. Australia, France, Denmark and Peru then is Group C. And this is where one of my dark horses lie for the tournament, which will become evident very soon. But I think that France will top the group. I think they've got the far superior squad. I think they're a contender to actually win it. Same probably goes for Spain within that, by the way. And yeah, at the bottom of the list, we're going to slot in Australia. I've got a lot of Aussies that watch. So I'm really, if you're Australian, good day, mate. I'm not looking for hostility. I do like Australia. I just think against some of these other sides, you're not quite as good as them. Like, you could finish third. You could upset Peru, who I'll put in at third. And then Denmark, who I think will be a little sneaky dark horse this tournament. I think they're capable. So we'll see. If you're Danish out there, then please be friendly to the Australian people that I've just upset in the comments. Okay, Group D. Let's go to that one then. Iceland, Argentina, Croatia, and Nigeria. This is going to be quite straightforward. I'm not gonna waste any time with this. I think it'll be Argentina, Croatia, Nigeria, Iceland. Iceland fans, it's nothing personal. I know you beat England at the Euros not long ago. I just think that these three teams are just that bit better. Argentina, I think, will top the group. Their forward line is like horrifically terrifying. You could give me a lucky dip. I'll put my hand in and pull out an Argentine name, and I'll be happy with that. Croatia, I think, are very good. Midfield-wise, I think they're sort of like Modric is one of the best midfielders in the world. He could be enough to carry the Croatian side through to some latter stages. They look really good at the Euros for like a short period. And eventually went out to, I think it was to Belgium at the Euros, thinking about it. But you never know. I think this sort of group as well, it gives them a chance to get, especially against Iceland. That would be the key game for me. Nigeria couldn't upset the apple cart. We saw it in the friendly against England. They're not like a bad team or anything. I just don't think they're as superior as Croatia and Argentina. So that would be why. Group E then. This is, again, quite a straightforward for me, personally. Brazil are topping that group. Costa Rica finished bottom of that group. And then it's between Serbia and Switzerland. And this is a little bit trickier because I think both sides are quite evenly matched, but I would just edge out and say Serbia. Apparently Shaqiri might be joining Liverpool, so maybe if you're watching, Jed, and I'm really sorry about that, but I just think Serbia will edge it just about. But I think Brazil will win all 3 games, personally. I think Brazil are very good. Speaking of very good teams, Germany to top Group F. And then it's quite tricky. Sweden, I've probably got quite a few Swedes that watch as well. So if you're Australian or Swedish, I'm really sorry. Sweden, I'm going to put bottom of the group. No Zlatan for Sweden anymore. The good team, I think I would totally agree with that. I think they're a good team. But in terms of quality, I think they're bested by both South Korea and Mexico. And it's very close because Korea always do pretty well at World Cups, but I'm going to put Korea in third, which brings Mexico into second. Germany, I think, are very strong, a huge favourite. We'll talk about them later as we go through the knockouts. But yeah. Group G. Now, this is. We'll come to it in a minute. Group H: Senegal, Poland, Colombia, Japan. Now, this is probably on paper. This is arguably a fun group because it's not obvious who the 2 teams to go through will be. I do though think that Colombia will top the group. I think they're probably the strongest team at that stage. Then it's pretty close. Japan, I don't think are quite as good as they have been in previous years. I've not got much hope for Japan this year, which is quite sad. Them and Korea, I don't think are the same forces that they have been in previous seasons. So I'll put them a little bit lower. Shinji Okazaki and the like. I'm sorry about that, folks. I don't even, is Okazaki in the squad? I think he is. Poland and Senegal. Then this is tough. This is like the Sadio Mane versus the Lewandowskis of this world. So who do I think will go through? This is one you kind of have to think about. This could change day by day, really. But I'm going to put in there. Do you know what? I've been looking through. Been a bit cruel to the African teams, Egypt, Morocco, and Nigeria, and I do think Senegal are one of the best equipped sides. Actually, out of all the teams in Africa, I think they're arguably one of the better ones, and I think they might just edge Poland. I think overall they've got a slightly better team, so we'll see. Now, go over to Group G. England's group, of course. Panama, Panama and Tunisia, but they're not neither of them are that good. So they're the bottom 2. I do think England and Belgium will go through. The question is, in which order do I think they'll go through? And I am going to boldly say, this is because I've got World Cup fever, everyone. This is why. Belgium are going into second. And I think England, I'll say this, okay, so this is my thought process. I don't think England will beat Belgium. I think Belgium will be a draw, like a really sort of quite a good game. So it's the last game of the group, but I think both of them will beat Panama and Tunisia, who I am kind of underestimating. So again, if you're from those countries, I apologise. But I think England will score more goals against Panama and Tunisia. I just think the way we are set up these days is quite emphatic, and I think the way that Panama and Tunisia might handle Belgium is slightly different to how they'll handle England. I think they might be a bit more defensive against Belgium, which will make it more difficult, whereas against England, I think we've got a bit of a chance here, so that might make it more interesting. Of course, they both know that they have to get a result against either England or Belgium, and I think if you're Panama or Tunisia, you're looking at those games thinking, we'd rather go after England, but that might open the game up, and I think that plays into England's hands. So there we are. Those are the groups. Then, if you continue forward, you can see here in this is on the FIFA World Cup, like official FIFA one. I'll leave it in the comments if you want to get involved. It's quite a nice one to use, actually. Hopefully, you can still do it even if the tournament's just started or whatever. But right, here we are. This is what my round of 16s would look like as we go a little bit further. So it's Uruguay, Portugal, France, Croatia, Brazil, Mexico, England, Senegal, Spain, Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Denmark, Germany, Serbia, and Colombia, Belgium. Some nice little ties in there, I think. Now, round of 16, I back them. I think that Uruguay are a pretty solid team when it comes to, especially knockouts in World Cups. They've always been good. I remember them getting sort of to third, fourth place playoffs in recent years. I think they're solid, and I think Portugal. It's often said that it's difficult for a team to bounce back and win again after winning. That's why the Spain team's so impressive, that they were able to win tournament after tournament, whereas Portugal, after winning the Euros, it might be more difficult to get motivated for it, where Uruguay would have kind of proved that they're the best South American team, whereas Portugal have sort of proven themselves in terms of European competition. So I'm going to go with Uruguay. I think that'd be if that ends up being the game, though, by the way, I think that'd be a brilliant game. I think that really back and forth, really dirty, loads of antics. I'm looking forward to it. France, Croatia. I like the Croatian side as I had them going through the group, but I just think France have got so many good players. I don't think their defence is actually as good as people think, but it's solid. Like, don't get me wrong, it is solid. I think attacking-wise, they're far better than they are defensively. I think there's more mistakes in the defence than maybe some of the other teams, Spain's, Germany's of this world, but their attacking power, their midfield and attack are. Whew. So France go through for me. Can set up Uruguay, France, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So Brazil, Mexico is next, and I think Brazil are good. So I'm going to go with Brazil over Mexico. I think that'd be a good game. I think Mexico will prefer to play someone like Brazil than they would maybe a Germany. So I think that might be a better game. I just think Brazil have got, like, their squad is on paper, I think their squad is maybe the best squad. Especially their first 11 is very, very strong. Which brings us to England, Senegal. Speaking of strong 11s, brings us to England, Senegal, which I think will be a media frenzy over Sadio Mane. And I think people will be going crazy about Mane, and it'll be Mane versus England. And of course, he's a very good player for Liverpool. Not the finished product for Liverpool, I will say that much. But so it'll be England, Senegal, and I think this is the sort of game that England will thrive in, personally. I think because of the style they play, if they've comfortably made it through the group, it kind of depends on how their group games have gone against Tunisia and Panama. If those have gone well, then I think Senegal isn't that much more of a step up. I think it is a step up, don't get me wrong, but not enough for it to cause England major problems. I think squad-wise, their team is still slightly better than Senegal's, although I do think Senegal, they could be one of the shock teams. They could be one of the dark horses this tournament. I think they've got a really good team. But not as good as England, as I put them through to play Brazil in the quarterfinals. Spain, Saudi Arabia. I think Saudi Arabia will shock the world in the group stages. I think Spain will destroy them in the last 16 when they're facing a real tough side in Spain, who I think will have a fantastic tournament. Now, this is where things get a bit more controversial for me, but you've got to be bold, haven't you? You can't just do the same as everyone else. I think Denmark will beat Argentina. And I'll tell you why. I think there's something to be said for Argentina, and it didn't happen at the last World Cup, but I'm a bit worried about them. There's so many. We all know, right? Argentina's attack is very good. It's almost like how they're going to fit all of that together to make it work and tick. And I think their group is quite comfortable, and that will hurt them. I think their group is relatively easy, but they'll be a bit complacent with that, and they'll think, oh, well, you know, breeze through this. Denmark should be easy, and Denmark will catch them. They've got some good players. Christian Eriksen, I think, is one of the best players at the tournament, personally. So we'll just have to wait and see. I think Denmark will prove a shock. I could be wrong. I don't know the future, viewers. I'm just giving my thoughts on it. I just think Argentina might breeze through the group. Everyone's calling them favourites, saying they could win it, and then Denmark come along and hurt them today. Right then, Germany versus Serbia. Sorry, Serbia fans. I'm going to get over and done with. Colombia, Belgium, that should be a great... I mean, if that's the game, of course, this could be England. England could well be in this game instead. They could face Colombia or Poland, etc., couldn't they? So it could be tough for them. But I'm going to go with a Belgium win. I think Colombia are a good side. I think Belgium will... They'll be disappointed not to have won their group, is my thought process in the whole context of everything. And they will fight back with fire, and it'll be interesting, I think. But, you know, that could go either way, that one. I think that's pretty close. I think Colombia are actually a really good team, so I guess we'll have to wait and see how they get on if they're to face Belgium. I will say, actually, if England play Colombia, I don't massively fancy England's chances. I think Colombia against England, that's not as good a matchup as Senegal is for England. I think that could cause them a spot of bother. Right, let's get back to the top of the quarterfinals. It's Uruguay, France now, and I'm really... France seem like the obvious candidate, but I'm so tempted to go for Uruguay because I think Uruguay could be... I think they'll win their group quite comfortably. I then think Portugal, they're pretty unlucky that they'll play Spain or Portugal, probably, if things go as people expect. And then they'll play France in the quarterfinals. I'm going to say France, but I'm sort of hedging my bets here. I absolutely think Uruguay are capable of beating the French, and I think the French team don't want to play a team like Uruguay. Like, they would much rather... I would say the French would much rather play Portugal than Uruguay. That's kind of what I'm saying with that. England, Brazil is tough, isn't it? Because I think lots of England fans think that when we play better sides, we're actually going to be better against the better sides. It gives us a chance to sit in a little bit and counter-attack. The problem is, Brazil are quite good anyway. Brazil could score quite a few goals against England, I think, and that's not good if you're playing Brazil, especially if they're looking good defensively. Again, there might be a thing with Brazil is that their group should be quite routine. If they win that and then beat Mexico, there might be this idea that they could beat anyone, and that can go either way, can't it? That can either go as you're overconfident or you're rolling. And I think Brazil will still beat England. Look, listen to me now, viewers. I'll say this honestly. I'd be so happy with a defeat to Brazil in the quarterfinals. That's all I want. As an England fan, I tweeted this out a while ago. As an England fan, all I want as an England fan is that 15-minute period where I think we can win the whole thing. That's all I want. I want that moment when we're 3-0 up against Senegal, and I'm thinking, this is brilliant. And Harry Kane is getting all three. It's going to be great. Of course, if you've not, speaking of England, if you've not seen the series, then maybe they'll get further than that. Link in the description. Spain versus Denmark. The Denmark shock factor will be over at this point, I think. And Spain, after all their problems with managerial issues, We'll go through the philosophy and the ideology of Spain is so good. Like, I don't think it matters. I should say as well on this that people, I don't know if you agree with this in the comments, but people are like criticising the Spanish FA for sacking their manager. The timing is a bit weird because he's been announced as Madrid manager for a little while now. Madrid are out of order. Like, Madrid can't just go to... I don't know if they spoke to the Spanish FA and said, can we talk to this guy about becoming our manager? And then he's agreed without consent of the Spanish FA. Like, that, to me, Spain are just, like, being really militant over it, but in a good way. Like, they should have that power with the manager that they've got. I don't know, it's a bit weird, isn't it? Germany, Belgium. What? Now, we all want this. This would be a stunning game of the new blood of Europe versus the old guard of Germany. Of course, holders as well, Germany. So... that is one of the toughest games to call, I think. Germany, Belgium. Now, I think Belgium have got a bit of the England 2002 about them, where they've got some really good players that don't gel perfectly. I think Martinez is limited as a manager. I don't think he's a bad manager. I just think against Jogi Löw, who will be set up in a way that he'll know already how to beat Belgium. It's that sort of thing. Whereas Martinez, I don't think will have much idea how to beat Jogi Löw's Germany. That'd be interesting. Joachim Löw, Jogi Löw. So I'm going to go Germany. I think they're just that bit better. And now, I mean, I'm loving everything about this, viewers. If this is the semi-finals, everyone's having a good time. France, Brazil, a remake of the 1998 World Cup, one of my first World Cups that I can remember. In fact, that was the first World Cup that I remember. I was 4 for the first one. That was alive. And then Spain, Germany. So, how do you see this going? Brazil versus France. It's very difficult, but and I'm going to kind of give away who I think will win the tournament here by selecting Brazil. I think Brazil will beat France. I think this might be the sort of thing where it comes down to suspensions and stuff like that. If either side has big players missing, like if France are without a Pogba, that would massively influence it. If Brazil for some reason are out with like Thiago Silva or a Neymar or a Casemiro, then that might really influence it. But I think Brazil they're not flaky in the middle. It's not like they're just going to create players. Casemiro is like so key to how they're going to be in this team. So it'll be interesting to see if he starts and if he plays every game for them. Like, because Brazil have got the options to rotate their midfield quite a lot as well. So it'll all be very curious. And that brings us to Spain, Germany, which I think will be won by Germany. I think it'll be close. I really think it'll be close. But I can see it being set up. There's lots of sort of storylines here that will have a repeat of the semi-final, of course, where Germany obliterated Brazil 7-1, and this will be the revenge of the Brazilians. Spain, I think, will have a really good tournament. This is the sort of game that could go to penalties and Germany will just go through because that's what Germany do. But I think that that won't be a blowout game. That'll be a really tight game. I'll be honest, you could put either Spain or Germany in that one, and I can totally see it for both of them. I just think Germany have maybe got the slightly better, more organized. Again, I think the experience of Jogi Löw, maybe that'll play to Spain's advantage. They won't be as predictable because they've just got a new manager and nobody knows how they're going to play. But Jogi Löw will be able to study them against the likes of Denmark and things like this, and Portugal, of course. So he'll have an idea. And I just think tactically he's underrated as a manager, especially in world football. So yeah, I think he'll make it through. But then Brazil will be my champions, and they'll win their 6th one, their 6th World Cup. It's outrageous, and it's too many, if anything. But that's my prediction, though. I know quite a lot of people are going for Brazil. I've been saying Brazil for a few months. If you've been watching my Twitch streams or whatever, then you'll know that I'll have said Brazil. But now it's here for you to mock, if you like. What I'm also going to do is name who I think will be top goal scorer, and who I think will be top assist maker, and then player of the tournament as well as my dark horse. So going through all of this, you can tell, I don't know if it really counts as a dark horse, but I will go with Denmark. I think Denmark will surprise a few people, and maybe even go further than that. Uruguay, again, I don't know if you consider them a dark horse. They're always sort of a dark horse, aren't they? But I think if you're in this mix and no one expected it, I think Denmark probably going to be my dark horse team to look out for. Christian Eriksen's going to carry his boys through. Top goal scorer, I think will be interesting because I think there's quite a few players that could certainly get it. I think one of the easier groups potentially lies with a team like Brazil, so I think looking at Neymar is not that unrealistic. But it's actually quite tricky, isn't it, for who could get it? Like, you could have a player get 6 quite early on and then not go any further than that. Like Lukaku could do that against Panama, against Tunisia, very easy. Harry Kane equally could do that. If he gets a couple against Senegal, maybe he gets 3 or 4 in the group as well. It's not impossible, and with the form he's in. But I'm going to go Neymar because I think Brazil are going to win it. I'm going to go Neymar to get Golden Boot, and I think because of that, I think Golden Boot quite often gets player of the tournament. Not always, but I think Golden Boot could get player of the tournament. So I think Neymar could do a double there. This is going to be Neymar's breakout, he's already a world star. He's the most expensive player of all time, but this is going to be the tournament that people will remember. This will be the Neymar tournament. That's my prediction. So I guess we'll see. And then I think it's everything. Most assists. I think we might see. Most assists could be almost anyone. You couldn't take the way it works. Could be one of the Spaniards who just is there supplying their endless supply of goals that they come up with. I guess Coutinho plays in behind for Brazil, so it could be someone like him. Could be Pogba with the likes of Griezmann in front of him. Could be De Bruyne again if Lukaku's scoring. Could be Jordan Henderson if Harry Kane. You know, there's options out there. Assists, it's a bit random, isn't it? Really, but I'll go with Coutinho. I think Coutinho, he loves a final pass. He loves a flicked ball or a crossing from a wide area. He loves that sort of thing. So I'll go with that. Quite Brazil heavy, I've realised now. I won't submit it, but you can see it in all its glory. And that then brings a conclusion to my predictions. Quite a long video. If you sat through the whole thing, congratulations. And of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. And we'll compare them. I'll go over these at the end of the tournament and we'll see what I got right, what I got wrong, and how it all went down then. So that's going to bring us to the end. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. If you want to see some more, subscribe to the channel. And of course, Thames and England series are all over the channel, scattered around, and Thames will be out later today if you're watching on what day is it today? It's the 14th. That's right. It's a difficult time, isn't it?